Odessa. Okay, so we're talking about struggles, and we're talking about feeling unworthy, and how everybody has a perspective on it, and then how everybody struggles, but sometimes we feel like we're struggling alone. And so I brought you down here because I wanted to get your perspective on this issue, or this, this topic. And so one of the first questions I had for you was, do you ever feel unworthy, and how does that affect your thoughts about yourself?
Yes, I do feel unworthy. It's majority of the time. My thoughts get affected by it because growing up a lot, there was always a lot of fighting and arguing and everything, and nobody really ever paid attention to me. So I felt like I grew up as like the outcast from my family. So that's just why, like, I wake up sometimes and I just like feel drained, and I think, like, when I'm alone, like, do I even belong here? Do they really love me like they say they do?
Yeah, and you know what? That could affect our mental state. It could affect how we think about each other, especially things that happened in the past, for sure. And so, yeah, thank you for sharing that and being open about that, because that's tough to just tell people, right? Because, like how I said, sometimes we feel alone, like we just don't want to tell people that stuff. So with that feeling of unworthiness, how does that feeling of unworthiness connect to your personal struggles within? Yeah, that's a loaded question.
It affects me a lot, because that's the one thing I always think about, because when I was little to now, I've always been the one to get in trouble, like the most trouble out of everybody. And I don't know, just people from the past, family, friends, would tell either my grandma that I'm going to be like the most bad kid ever and stuff. And I just think about that stuff because it just stuck with me.
And usually that does stick with us, like from younger, and then when we don't deal with it, it always comes back, and that seems like it's taking a hold of your mental, right? Obviously. And so my next question is, for you, just think about you. For you, why do you believe your mental state is in a good state and or a bad state?
Well, it's a little bit of both for me. It could be good and bad sometimes.
Okay.
This past year has been hectic.
Yeah, for sure.
Because last year I have made a lot of not so great decisions.
Right.
And it's been years since I made this, so I start thinking about those. Just, wow, I really did that. And it's been bad because my mom, she had left me when I was little. She's been in and out of my life, and that still affects me because I see her once in a while and I just break down right after. And it just like hurts me a lot because of the relationship that she has with my siblings and my niece and my nephews. I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it like definitely stirs up your emotions, and your thoughts run wild, right? And that has everything to do with our mental state. And we were talking to Dom a little bit earlier, and he had mentioned, sometimes we forget the spiritual side of things and how God is there for us. And real quick, I just want to let you know, Jesus is there for you, even when you feel alone. I just felt like I should tell you that, because when we feel alone, sometimes we feel like we can't turn to nobody. We could turn to Jesus, because he loves us so much. And
when I'm alone sometimes and feel overwhelmed, I like do the sign of the cross
on
my hand a few times. Like,
does it help?
Like Jesus is like has his arm wrapped around me, telling me everything's okay.
Wow, that's powerful. Does that help you a lot?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool that you have that. And then that just the sign of the cross on your hand makes you feel the presence of Jesus right there with you. Wow. Thank you for sharing, because you know what, I guarantee that a lot more people have stories like you and feel alone just like you, but are maybe a little bit scared to speak up and say something. And the fact that you have says that you're really brave and that God's giving you the courage and the strength. And I really admire that, and I give you kudos for that. Right? See, he gave you that smile and everything. So, you know what? This has been a great interview with. This is a highlight right here of the day. I feel, you know. Look, see that? See, right? But no, thank you for being transparent and everything that you brought today. So I appreciate the openness.